congregate. For some reason I'm not going live over here on Instagram. That's weird. Not sure what's going on over there. Stuck. All right, now we're looking good. Okay, so I had one of those moments where I saw a quote kind of inspired me. Um, Tell me what you guys think of this one. This is one of my articles I wrote this week, and I just saw this quote. Oscar Wilde said it. Experience is the hardest kind of teacher. It gives you the test first and the lesson afterward. So I got to thinking a little bit about that one. And I came up with a few things about, you know, experience. There's failures, there's mistakes. We're all human, we make them. There's successes, and how we handle all of those. How do you handle failure? How do you handle mistakes? How do you handle successes? Because you're going to have all three throughout your life multiple times. And if you keep trying, you're probably going to fail more than you succeed. In fact, another statistic I like to share with people is Thomas Edison and folks that created these light bulbs. He is on record failing 2,774 times before he figured out how to make the electric light bulb. Somewhat 2,775th attempt at it. And he had created the light bulb company, electric company around it. So, it's not a failure. It's just not a term to give up. It's one of those things that you learn from it and you move on, you become smarter, and you're probably going to fail differently in the future, but you keep on striving and moving it forward. I came up with these 5 important thoughts on failures, successes, and experiences. Real quick, you might think success is your best friend, but remember, it's also that sneaky partner that leaves you vulnerable when you least expect it. Basically, meaning complacency kills. Once you've reached a certain level, you become complacent and you stop being a student, you stop learning, you stop growing, and you fall backwards. That's a typical thing that happens with success. A lot of overconfidence involved with that. You know, Failing sounds harsh, but in the grand scheme of life, it's really more like your toughest mentor, doling out life lessons without a syllabus. Thought that was kind of cool. Every time you stumble, consider it a chance to write a sequel to your personal story. After all, practice makes perfect, even in failure. Just when you feel on top of the world, life will swoop in and remind you that humility is also a lesson away. One more, and I'll leave you alone with my introduction. Um, each experience, whether triumphant or disastrous, is a stepping stone in the winding path to wisdom, or at least a good story to tell. Right? Um, One of my favorite quotes by President John F. Kennedy is, "Those who dare to fail miserably can achieve greatly." So get comfortable being uncomfortable. Failing shouldn't be the end. So there you go. That's my little intro to you. And looks like there's some questions popping up. And I see all kinds of one-word questions, which I don't know what you want me to do with. So somebody said success is important. Yes, success is important. Failure is okay, just don't give up. Absolutely. Perfectionism with a question mark. Don't know what that has to do with anything. Maybe it's, perfectionists sometimes try so hard to be perfect when good enough is sufficient. Does that make any sense? Fail until you succeed. There you go. So how fast should I be running 6 miles? Um, I would recommend being in that 7-minute mile zone. So if you can do 6 miles in 42 minutes, that's a good above average running for someone who is going into the military or even special ops. Now, if you're competing in a 10K, I recommend you run much faster than that. Maybe sub 6, try to get it in 30. Maybe 30 35 minutes. Okay? But it really depends on what you want to do there, Christian, with your 6-mile run. I'm assuming it's a tactical fitness challenge, not somebody who runs 10Ks professionally, because the answer would be different. Yeah, one of my lights is out. Yeah. It's funny we talk about light bulbs. My light bulb just died like 10 minutes before I went on air. So I am a little darker than normal today. You can't always succeed, and failure will give you important lessons. Yes, precisely what I was just saying. So anyway, I wrote that article. I think I have a. Yep, I do. Here's a link to it if you want to save it, because you never know. It's one of those, I find these to be a nice little reference tool. Sometimes you need somebody sharing successes and failure stories with you, um, because we all have them and we all make mistakes, and you got to grow from those mistakes. If you're going to keep making the same old mistake over and over again, you're not really learning, right? So, I will tell you mine, and some of you guys might have heard it already, but I wanted to serve in some fashion. Wasn't sure exactly when or how that was going to look, but I got accepted to Naval Academy. I had 4 years to kind of figure it out. And when I show up to Naval Academy, I was working really hard to get to the Naval Academy. I had done everything right, good grades, athletics, leadership, team captain, volunteer hours, everything you could do to get accepted into. I did. Um, but I never really focused on what I was going to have to do when I first got there, right? I was going to have to take a fitness test. Well, I never did 2 minutes worth of sit ups, right? I should have. That was a big mistake. Could I do 2 minutes worth of sit ups? Yes. But could I do it on the pace they wanted? No. And I screwed that up. Made a mistake. But I was able to correct that mistake. And the next time I was able to pass it, no problem. Before that year was up, I was able to max it because I learned how to do it. And then I had to learn how to pass chemistry, and I had to learn how to get through calculus, and I had to get over not making a football team, which was my whole identity going into the Naval Academy. I was going to play football and fly fighter jets. Well, I did neither of those. Wound up playing rugby and going to Buds, which I don't regret a single bit. I readjusted, you know, had to change my mind and come up with a new path. Those were moments of failing and also making mistakes and using those experiences to come back a little bit stronger. Um, and I'm still make them every day. So don't beat yourself up on them and move on. Um, got some more uh, questions here. Looks like Ryan says I should replace my light bulb 2,700 times. Yes, just like Thomas Edison. Already a Navy corpsman, how do older guys in their 30s fare in the teams? Any learning curves or obstacles I might run into for fitting in? No, I mean, there's plenty of older guys there. I mean, there's guys with families, and there's also guys that haven't even old enough to finish college. So it's a wide variety of people that get into the teams. And my advice is, you're a corpsman, just get really good at doing your corpsman stuff, and you will be loved amongst the platoon. I promise you. Um, and needed as well. I personally have always liked my corpsmen to be a little older and more mature, because they were very useful. Especially when you get into that independent duty corpsman, and those guys are invaluable in the teams. But there's plenty of other older guys too that you're going to find compatible with your age group as well. But the young guys keep you young as well, so it's fun to work with all ages. You learn something from the older guys, and you can learn something from the new guys too. I remember this new guy came in and wasn't much of a physical specimen, but I mean, he could do anything with an engine. He could jump start a car, hot wire a car. I mean, he could do anything, break into it. I mean, I was like, damn, these are some skills, and I just like, you got to teach us this stuff, right? So even the young guy with the, you know, experiences like that were valuable to the team. So, but my advice, if you're going to buds earlier or later in life, is you need to start figuring out the solution to what helps you recover the fastest. What type of sleep do you need? What, nutrition, things that really help you with physical training, what you need to eat an hour or two before you go train, plus what you need to eat after the end of the day to help you recover from that and be well fueled for tomorrow. I mean, those are probably the two biggest responsibilities you have as an older guy, to just focus on your recovery. What extra things do you need? What types of massage tools do you need? Um, Foam rollers, massage guns, actually getting a massage out in town, is that going to help you on the weekend? Sometimes if you go deep tissue, you're going to be a little sore. Probably don't want that. But, finding ways to break up some of the soreness is going to be a constant battle that you have to do. Let's see, more questions. Have you ever seen someone improve their calisthenics while only training it twice per week? Um, I mean, it really depends. If you're a beginner, you will see beginner type improvements just a few times a week. If you are kind of a older guy, advanced, been in shape and you're out of shape, you might see some improvements a few times a week when you first get started. But typically, most people who are at a certain level will maintain their calisthenics with as little as 2 times a week, if that makes sense. So it's more of a maintenance plan. Like for me, I'm probably not going to see improvements in calisthenics doing it just twice a week. Um, but I can maintain my calisthenics twice per week. All right, let's see. Ryan's giving me the synopsis here. Yeah, passing microbiology and organic chemistry in college is like passing buds. Um, I don't know about that. I've never taken those two, but I will tell you this: they're very difficult. Um, I know people who have gone on to take those, become doctors, and I would say passing those and becoming a doctor would be a typical journey that I would compare going to buds, just because of the time, the effort, the there's no immediate gratification, right? It is just a constant grind for months, years even, in order to reach that pinnacle of whether that's getting a trident or it's becoming a doctor. I would definitely put those in the same parallel path, if you would. Uh, Just to say I've reached 70 push-ups 3 months ago. I couldn't even do 40. Nice. I failed a lot, but hard work and consistency paid off. I'm improving. Failure is essential to having success. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I don't think you want to fail every set of something you're trying to improve on, but failing some each time you do a workout, absolutely. That's going to definitely help you see see some progress. All right, Stu, what are your thoughts on the changes to SOAS? A little longer, weeks flipped. Also, what are your thoughts on Jeff Nichols' disdain for officers? Sincerely, a 29-year-old making a big life change. Jeff has his opinions, and I'm going to leave him to his opinions. I don't necessarily see the same types of issues Jeff sees. Um, but I'm also not going to knock him for it. That's his experience. That's his experience. What are your thoughts on the changes to SOAS? You know, SOAS just started 2014. So if you want to talk about changes, it has changed probably 5 or 6 times since 2014. Used to be 3 weeks, dropped it to 2 weeks, was a hard week first, then the hard week became second. They're going to make changes. I don't think it really matters. I think it's a good idea to make the hard week second because that first week at least gives everybody who's there a commercial into the community. You get to talk to SEALs, you get to see what the job is like and the career path, talk about different types of jobs that they do, um, and you get to see where they live. They live in Southern California. At least you're a West Coast guy. Um, so I think that is an invaluable experience just to go there, see what the school looks like, see what people are going through while you're there, and then you get a little taste of what a week's worth of kick butt workouts feels like, and working all day and being a team and getting tested. I think it's a great way to assess people. So I don't have any problem with SOAS. I think SOAS is doing a great job with what they have and what they do. It's 10 times better than what it was when I was in. Because when I was in, it were like 3 different boards that would happen, or maybe 4. There would be the Academy board, the ROTC board, the OCS board, and the from the Fleet board. All of them were separate. They did have some consistency with that because they had one guy that was in charge of the community that went to all of them. So now, instead of 4 different boards, it's a consistent process. Everybody gets screened the same way. It's very consistent. Um, and the board is roughly the same every time. One big group of officer candidates, and they pick the best ones to go. So I like the way the SOAS program works. It is a legit officer selection for that program. And we've had a couple of 29-year-olds go, so it's not a big deal. Going into the Navy at 35, what kinds of workouts should I do at my age and what should I eat? Ooh, that's a big question. My advice is do the same workouts the 18-year-olds are doing because you need to be prepared for not only getting to the training, but also through the training, right? And if that's a spec ops process that you're going for, if it's regular Navy, I wouldn't sweat it too much. It's not going to be physically challenging for you, but you still need to, prepare for basic fitness test, right? If it's a PST, it's a little more advanced. Running, swimming, pull up, push up, sit ups, and be a master of your own recovery. That's important. I got a couple articles for you to read if you do a Google search with my articles on Optimal performance is the mastery of recovery. Longevity is also the mastery of recovery. Two separate articles basically saying the same thing. That's the beauty of it. If you want to be old and still performing, master your recovery. If you want to be young and be at your optimal performance level, master your recovery. Same answer. Thank you. Question: what is the best way to become a great performer under the boats, rucking? Which one of your programs would you recommend? I have a couple of different ones that work really well for that. This one's a really good one, To and Through Selection. It's a spring training program, kind of progressively builds you up. This is a real good one. Navy SEAL workout, phase 2, 3, getting through selection, prep for specific events like load bearing on the sand. We typically do two things. We ruck every Friday on the beach. It's just one of our events. We run hills. We use the hill to make running harder. We run bleachers. We use bleachers to make running harder. We do fireman carries just because it's hard. And we even have a boat that it's a 4-person boat that people run, and they get used to carrying things on their head, about the same weight distribution as it would be at Bud's. So we do all types of things to become better performers under the boat. In fact, boats on head, Stu Smith, Google that and you'll see an article. In fact, I might have even shared this one yesterday with you guys. Sorry to do it again if I did. It's a military.com article that may help you with that. So check that out. Let's keep moving. I got some videos to show you, especially those of you who have a awkward kick or need to work on your kick. Yeah, you guys are really tearing up the questions. Good job. Let me share my screen with you guys because I want to show you a couple of things about what we're doing here. Let me mute that here. So, all right. So let me start this over. You guys can see that good kick off the wall. I don't like all the dolphin kicks. Let's just do one of those things. I think, one, it's probably not doing a whole lot, just wasting energy. So it's moving slow. What's dragging? Top arm, bottom arm, kick. Yeah, the one thing I was hitting on this one with them is, after you kick, keep your legs still, right? You want to glide, and sometimes that extra little half kick, moving your legs around,
almost a double kick,
not pointing your toes, that's just slowing you down. So if you take a look, it looks like he's got a double kick. Big scissor kick, little kick, little kick, big scissor kick, little kick, little kick. I wouldn't even call it a flutter kick because a flutter kick's more useful than what you're doing. You're just kind of opening and closing your legs. So what I do after I kick, I put one foot on top of the other like this. And when I pull my arms, sometimes when you pull your right arm, your left leg wants to move. It's just something that happens in the water. So it kind of forces you not to add that kick to it. So I would say try to take that extra movement out. Overall, this is not bad. It's just a little awkward. And if you notice, his kick doesn't really produce a big amount of glide. Like here, he gets a little bit of a glide, but one Mississippi, two Mississippi pull. He's just not moving when you're not fast. I can show you a couple of good streamline guys that got a solid kick.
It's not even a flutter kick.
2 body lengths per kick.
Flutter kick would be several little kicks. You just tend to have almost a second kick in there.
Out of his kick. We want to at least do double that. So let me show you what I did to fix it. All right. So you guys might like this. And it's swimming with fins. I think I got him in here swimming with fins. All right, good, I do. All right, so let me share this with you guys. So here's an easy fix. If you have a crappy kick, And I've seen many people with not good kicks. Here's an easy fix to it. Put on a pair of fins and actually do scissor kicks and glides with the CSS. And notice what it does for them. One, it forces them to do a proper kick. All right, sorry, catching up here. Big kick, hold that glide. Top arm, bottom arm. Big kick, hold that glide. Yes, I like this. See, so what we're trying to do here is open up those hips, whip kick it down, right? And we're just making his legs a little stronger, adding that scissor kick in there. Now, I usually don't recommend doing a lot of scissor kicking with fins. About the only time I do this is more for strategic value, and that is when I'm going with the current. Right? I know the current is pushing me because I can feel it. I'm moving faster than I normally do. Is instead of a whole bunch of flutter kicks going through it, I'll just do a big scissor kick and hold that glide there. And I'm actually kind of conserving energy with that because I know when I turn back around, I'm going to have to start motorboating it to get through that current going back. In fact, I have a demonstration of that, I think. Let's see what I have underwater. I think I have an underwater video too. You know what? I'll post it later today. I'm going to show you guys this real quick. This is him doing underwater, which caused me to think a little more about what's wrong with his kick. So let's see what we got here. Big kick, hold that glide. You got to point your toes a little bit too. See how you're like you're when you're trying to glide, your feet are like almost at a 90-degree angle. Got to let it relax. You got to work on some ankle mobility, I think, also to get this here. I like the top arm. Top arm's got a good freestyle catch. Bottom arm's a nice little breaststroke skull. So that looks pretty good. Let me get him coming back again so you can see this. Yeah, let's look at this kick real quick. So it's not bad, but you see how right after he kicks, he just needs to keep his legs together because that little extra kick there is not really helping. It might even be getting in the way of the streamline. So kick, close your legs. All right, not bad. Let's see what else we have over here. Take some more questions here real quick while we're. What's your favorite substitute for running when you're injured? Also, what are your favorite strength building exercises to improve leg strength for running? Oh, great question. I would say I prefer biking and swimming whenever I can't run. Um, those seem to be my two favorites. You know, I don't mind rowing, I don't mind elliptical, but I just don't prefer them. But I will do a bike and a swim workout any day. So 30-minute bike, 30-minute swim, boom. You know, I just replace my running workout if I needed to replace a running workout. Um, strength building exercises, we do squats and lunges, a lot of calisthenics for that. But we'll also do weighted squats, weighted lunges, um, farmer walks up and down a flight of stairs. But we also run hills and run sand, you know, things, you know, we pull sleds, you know, all of those are great for, you know, working the hips and leg muscles for running. You know, try sprinting with a sled. That's a really fun one. Um, almost finished with the 90-day beginner workout. Want to know where to go next. Have your cows and cardio. Feel like the intermediate is a little too much, but the 30 days a little too easy. My advice would be this. Go to the cows and cardio program to hit that intermediate, but just pull back on it. You know, like some of these things you're going to have to personalize a little bit. Another option is maybe redo the last 45 days and just make those a little harder, you know, in the 90-day program. You know, that second 45-day section, just make them a little harder. Add 5 minutes to every walk or jog. Add 5 more sets, to whatever you're doing calisthenics wise. Add 3 more sets if you're doing dumbbells and weights. Just make it a little harder. Put a little more time into each day. And I think the reason why I like to do that is redo some of the workouts I just finished is one, check my own progress because I remember this week whenever I first did it, it kicked my ass. Oh, I just crushed it now. And I added 20 more minutes to it, right? That's a good acknowledgement of your progression, when you are training. So it's kind of up to you. You can either make the intermediate a little easier or you can go back and redo the 90-day at starting at like that mid 45 range and make those a little harder. Do I have any sort of guide for improving basketball throw for the Service Academy? I do have a Service Academy workout. There's also a video on the basketball toss where I help you with the technique of that because it is technique. Let's see, basketball throw Stu Smith. That's what I want you to Google. And you'll see candidate fitness assessment, b-ball throw. I throw it, talk a little bit about it. Check out this YouTube video. It's a little old, probably about 15 years old, but still works. My advice is to get better at basketball throws, you need to practice throwing. Now, you don't need to practice throwing the basketball, for 30 minutes every day. But what I would do is at the end of any of your workouts, get on, just stand up and throw 10 times, then get on your knees and throw 10 times, and you're done. And, don't throw full speed every time, like trying to chuck it across the yard. Just, give it a good 50%, work on your technique, and then maybe your last two or three, after you're warmed up real well, just throw that thing as hard as you can and see if you see any improvement. Ever had to use the 400-pound log? Yeah, not fun. I think they've gotten rid of it. I'm not sure what the other ones weigh. Maybe 200, 250. I'll have to measure it. Yes, sir. Made a C in those courses. Didn't get into University of Missouri Medical School. Yeah, that's tough, man. That's for a program that needs so many doctors. Like we need more doctors. You know, it's amazing how many people don't get into med school. It's like we need a better process of being able to make more doctors. Not that I'm saying the standard needs to go down, but I know a lot of great, smart people that would make great doctors that just never got into med school. All right, let's see a couple more. Of the women have you trained, what is the furthest one has progressed in tactical professions? Good question. Multiple women are Marines, um, in Navy EOD. Got a couple pilots, got a couple doctors. So many difference. Several are still in. I think we have a commander now. I got 05. We got some enlisted folks too that are still killing it as well. Some really good ones. Let's see. My left side CSS without fins has a much stronger kick than my dominant right side. Should I stick to the left side with fins? I'm good on both sides. Well, with fins, it really matters to practice both sides because if you're swimming for miles, you're going to want to switch sides. For the 500-yard CSS without fins, not that big a deal. If you want to learn both sides, I would recommend learning both sides. If you want to stick to one of them, your strongest one, and test that way on your strong side the whole time, there's nothing wrong with that either. But I personally think if you're going to do a lot of swimming, you should practice bilateral everything. Bilateral CSS, bilateral breathing on freestyle. It just yields good balance overall, if that makes sense. Let's see, any more questions over here? Nope, doesn't look like it. What brand of dive goggles do you recommend? I use cheap China ones now from Amazon. You know what? My advice is use whatever works. I'll be honest with you. I have a pair of Form goggles that are pretty expensive. They were given to me as a gift. I would probably never buy them. I do like them though because it just kind of keeps me on pace. Like I don't have to look at my watch and there's a little pop-up screen in my right above my eyeball that isn't as distracting as I thought it would be. It tells me how far I've gone and what my times are, what my lap speeds are. It's really cool. In fact, we had another guy get a pair, and he said it was probably the thing that helped him the most because it was forcing him to push himself as if somebody was yelling at him the whole time of like, you're 50-second laps, go faster, type of thing. Will having a strong 405 squat help with running and swimming faster? No. I know many people who are great runners and swimmers that can't do 315 on their squat. Will it make you a more durable athlete? Perhaps. You know, but you talk to strength coaches on pro football teams, it's great that someone has a 500, 600-pound squat, but are they good on the athletic field? That's what really matters. So, I don't think it makes you faster. It might make you faster in sprinting. I don't think it's going to make you faster in longer runs and paced runs, like 1.5 to 6 mile timed runs. But it's great to have a strong squat. Not knocking it, just saying, put it this way. Whenever I was a powerlifting football player, I had good squats and deadlifts and bench presses and power clean and jerks. And I quit lifting for probably about a year at least and just focused on running, biking, swimming, and calisthenics because I was strong enough already and I needed to get to be a better runner, swimmer, cardio machine, and high rep calisthenics. And me lifting heavy weights at that time wasn't helping. So I speak to you from my experiences. I will say this, once I got my endurance up to where I needed it to be, then I could start integrating lifting with it. And I saw no decrease in my endurance. I only saw increases in my strength. But building both at the same time is really difficult, if not impossible, right? It's hard to get a stronger squat or deadlift and at the same time become a better runner at timed runs. Sprinting was one different animal, but if you're running for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, those are going to be an issue with one, getting stronger, and two, getting faster and being able to hold that pace. They're just contradictory. That's why we go into cycles with our lifting cycle. We focus that fall winter lift cycle, we run less because we focus on strength. And whenever we are in the spring summer cycle, we run more and we lift less. Right? We're trying to maintain, but we're not trying to get stronger, trying to get faster. So it's kind of a periodization 101. As a former baseball pitcher, I and other pitcher hit for the wall of the gym on basketball throw. Oh, wow. Only ones who do it. Yes. Yeah. Pitchers, quarterbacks, and water polo players, outfielders who have cannons usually crush that basketball toss. In fact, those are the only people I've seen be at one end of a basketball court and throw it clear to the other end of the basketball court and hit the wall. And I would say the two guys that I've seen hit that wall over decades of giving that test, they were quarterbacks, pitchers, and we had a water polo player that could just chuck it. So it helps to practice throwing, basically. So can I better understand personalizing the workout? On day 3, intermediate includes 50 pull-ups. If I dropped it down to 20, 25, is that acceptable or too low? I should do a different program. No, I think you should do it. In fact, do as many pull-ups as you can, but you have a choice. You can either stop at 20 or 25 because that's all you can do, or you can resort to making those pull-ups easier and getting all 50 by doing pull downs or rows or bicep curls, some other pulling exercise to add more pull-ups. That's what I would do. When I first started, there was a pyramid workout, 1 to 10, back to 1, that I could not finish, right? So I went up to 7 and came back down. I couldn't do 8, 9, 10, 9, 8. I could do 1 to 7, back down to 1, but I couldn't finish it. So I didn't. I just got it done. Let's see. What else we got here? Nose or no nose goggles for pre-buds PST. You can only, there's no goggles. It's, well, I take that back. Pre-buds, when you're taking it with the recruiter, they don't care. You can wear a mask or goggles. When you're at buds taking it, you're going to wear a mask, no goggles, covering your nose. Thank you for answering questions. Now I don't have to ask on an email. Yeah, no problem. Yes, I would agree. You can get those stats back off muscle memory. I would say this. I didn't lift for a year, and it took me 6 weeks to get back to my old maxes, or at least in that ballpark of old maxes. 6-week lift cycle. I focused on lifting after buds, got back to my old lifts that I did as a power lifter. So let's see what else we got here. What would you recommend for teenagers wanting to get into fitness with SEAL in mind? I've written a couple articles about that. In fact, teenagers, Navy SEAL advice, Stu Smith. I am using the Google machine to come up with this article, and I found it. In fact, it is titled Prepare to Serve, Advice for Early Teens About Getting Ready to Serve, right? And this goes for anybody, whether it is service in SEALs or regular military or Rangers or SF, any of those things. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of people started using, these workouts like this, a long time ago. These are fairly new versions of my older SEAL workouts. I think they're great. They're just calisthenics and cardio. Build a good foundation for you there. Wanted to say thanks for all the help you've provided over the last few months for me shipping the 16th EOD. Nice. Good luck. I think you'll like the EOD. It's legit. I got a lot of folks in EOD and they love it. I think I'll go with the mask. I would recommend that. I'm shipping out October 28th as a rescue swimmer. Any advice? Yeah, keep swimming every day. I want you to get to the pool every day and swim. Swim a bunch of laps, mix in calisthenics, push-ups, and flutter kicks on the pool deck in between every couple 100-yard sets. Tread water, definitely. Tread water, right? No hand treading. Learn how to swim with a brick. All of those things you're going to see again. I promise you. Get comfortable in the water. Optimal times for 4-mile runs right before signing contract. My advice is be at 28 minutes. That's kind of like a good standard to not worry about failing. You're not going to be in the top 10%, but you'll at least be in the top 20, maybe 25% of the class with that 28-minute 4-mile timed run. It's a 7-minute mile. Nothing hard. My advice is get it to where 24 um, 28 minutes is a good pace for you for a 4-mile run. Now you're going to see people getting 25s, some of you breaking 25 and hitting 24 something. So let's see here. Don't know minimum standards. Yep, me either. I saw people at the pool with weighted fins and weighted gloves. Do you recommend those for faster swims? I've never used weighted gloves. I've used like the gloves that are webbed. Those are kind of fun, make you pull harder. Never used weighted fins, so. Which of your books should I purchase for law enforcement training? Well, it depends. I got several on there. If you go to Stu Smith Fitness and go to the police and fire section on the menu, you'll see an FBI training test workout, a DEA, which is the same as the FBI test now. It used to be different. You got a FLETC, Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. You have the basic PT test, which is push-ups, sit-ups, mile and a half run. Just for the test. Now, there's way more than just test training in those books. There's actual training for the actual academies that you'll be doing as well. But it's going to make sure that you don't have a problem with meeting the standards of those programs. So, and then once you get through all of that, you can do something like tactical fitness periodization where you're actually training everything, strength and power and speed and agility. All of those are really important just to do your job and, get through obstacle courses and things like that. Any tips on improving my run time? Yeah. Yeah, get on a running program. In fact, here's a running program for you. If you're going to ask such a generic, basic question with no reasoning for why you need to improve your runtime, here's a generic answer for you. And it's called running plan. Oh, there's my light. Came back on. Running plan to get you to and through selection. Stu, do you have mobility routine I can follow? Yes. In fact, if you Google mobility day walkthrough Stu Smith, you will see it. I'll walk you through my exact routine that I do. And I change it up quite often, but you'll at least see how I used it when I made that video. Mobility Day walkthrough, Stu Smith. Check it out. Not to open Pandora's box, but I heard a few times now I would never join the service with today's poor leadership and meaningless wars. I ignore it, but there is a point to be had. Your opinion? I don't see it. I'm not one of those people that boohoos what's happening all the time. You know, this is a great country. Be proud to serve it. If you want to make it better and serve. Now you won't be able to do it at first, but if you feel like you want to make it better versus just bitching about it. Yeah, it's trying to come back to life. All right, couple more questions and I got to go. Any tips on strengthening hamstrings without access to a gym? My quads are asymmetrically stronger than my hamstrings and glutes. Yeah, there's a couple things you can do. You ever try the Nordics, right? Where you actually are doing hamstring curls, by hooking your feet under something and like extending out and then trying to flex your hamstrings, go back and forth. Basically, you're doing a hamstring curl, but instead of using a machine, the body is your weight. That is very hard. You might have to use your hands just to do it. But look it up, Nordic hamstring curl. That's a way to do it. Also, some RDLs are really good too. Romanian deadlifts. What are your recommendations on getting push-up max up for the test? I've been hitting all my run times, but I can only do 10 pull-ups. All right, so you said push-up max up, but you meant pull. Did you need to work both pull-ups and push-ups? My advice is keep training. Don't do push-ups and pull-ups every day. And yes, do bigger sets of pull-ups and push-ups. Don't do daily stuff, right? Give yourself some recovery time. I do have some pull-up, push-up workouts that you can definitely find. In fact, I'm going to give you 3 of them. In fact, this workout here is called my favorite 3 workouts to crush the PT test. I put it over here on this comment section over here for you. Read those, put those into your week, and let's go crush it. All right, last question. Hey, Stu, I've improved my running a lot thanks to your workouts, although any tips on how to pace when running? When I try to pace, I feel like I'm going slower or going very fast. My advice is get a watch and get a known distance. Otherwise, you're just guessing, right? So get on a track, get a watch, time your track runs, right? Divide your pace. Let's say you want a 6-minute mile pace. That means you have to run a minute 30 on your quarter mile. You have to run a 3-minute half mile. And you start practicing the pace. Start learning how the pace feels. Otherwise, you won't ever know, and you're just going to um, just guess and not make it. Run too fast or run too slow. But the more you practice it, the more you will start feeling what a 6-minute mile feels like, what a 7-minute mile feels like. You should feel it in the way you're breathing. You should feel it in the way your arms are swinging, way your legs strides going. All of those things can be felt naturally. Your heart rate, all that stuff. And I can tell you just by jogging for about 2 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm on an 8-minute pace. I'm on a 7-minute pace. I can feel when I run a little faster, what pace I'm on. I can just tell, right? And then I check it on a track. I said, yep, right on pace. There's a lot of ways to fix that, especially nowadays. You got Garmin's that can tell you exactly what your pace is. All right, folks, let's move on. Finish this week strong. And if you guys got more questions, you can email me at stu@stewsmith.com. Somebody asked if I've ever competed in Squattober. I have not. I see it all the time. Soreneck's great company. I have not seen that one. Steak or organic steak? You know what? My grocery store, I don't think it's organic, but I eat it. Courses of action. There you are. Let's see. It's also fun when they just say, go as fast as you can, and we'll tell you when to stop. Yeah, that is true. I have died trying that. All right. I guess we're done. All right, folks. Hey, I appreciate your time. Thanks for listening. Hope you picked up something on that CSS critique. And if you got more issues with the CSS, go to my Instagram, Reels, YouTube Shorts. I got a whole bunch of videos there, just me critiquing people. Even on TikTok, if you haven't seen that, same address as my Instagram, StuSmith50. I appreciate you sticking around this long. Save 15%. Use the Live15 coupon code at StuSmithFitness.com. But if I missed your question, email me, Stu@StuSmith.com. Happy to help you. We'll see you next week. You guys have a good one.